Anyway. In the top left side, the red Terran player fighting for Kaisi Gaming. He is Time. I'm fairly certain Solar also still, yeah. Also still in Kaisi Gaming is the blue Zerg player, Mr. Solar. Alright, and the horses are off. Between these two, I'm not quite sure what to expect. I would assume that we're going to see Time be very aggressive. And Solar do his best to kind of absorb any kind of punches that are thrown at him. Most of the earlier bouts will happen because Time putting pressure onto Solar here. Is what I would imagine. In best of 5, Solar could try to throw in a little roach attack here or there. But we'll have to wait and see if that, of course, is going to be a thing. Wondering what we're going to see tech-wise as well from Solar here, of course. If it will just be the more standards, I'd say more standard. I suppose the standards are kind of developing right now, but the more explored Lingbane Mutalisk route, or if he's going to try to get himself into that lurk attack. To be fair, Solar, of course, also a player that has been doing the lurk attack for a long time, so not really something incredibly new for him. Has been able to verse himself quite competently with that type of tech. Going to set up that drone on a 3rd. Looking to get a nice early hatchery here. He's still going to go for the double queen start. Isn't doing anything super crazy, but look at that. Gets the hatchery down before the Reaper's even there. It's a good start. Definitely a good start. Reaper does see the 3rd base. Gets a couple of good shots here off of the Zerglings. Straight off the bat. The queen does arrive in time, of course, as we saw. Solar prioritizing those queens this part in time. And talking about Time, what is he up to? 2 barracks and a factory coming down for him. We'll be a bit more orientated towards that early aggression, as we would we're kind of assuming already, of course. Even opening up with that idea of aggression with the double Reaper here. All telltale signs of somebody that likes to do things that are on the opponent's side of the map. Time to take Solar bath. Interesting. Alright, I'm not sure what you mean with this, Alex. I know there's Time and Solar in there. But a bath? Interesting. I don't know. Anyway. I'm sorry, buddy. Drones! A lot of drones on that production tab. It's still the right time to drone up after all. It's steamrolling ahead quite nicely with that amount as well. There is a 3rd base also on the way here for Time. It's going to start setting up shop with the added in economy. There's the double Evo chamber before lair attack is on the way. Would assume we're going to have very heavy upgraded links here taking part. Which usually is an indicator of getting ourselves a couple of those Mutalisks involved as well at a later point in time. This does seem to be the main stretch right now. The home stretch for Solar. I'm a bit surprised he's not being more proactive with the links. Would like to see the links a bit more huddling around the Terran base, trying to figure out what is going on, right? You would be able to, for example, see 2 medevacs coming out. I don't know what exactly he already scouted. Let's take a look. I mean, not that much, right? That is... Okay, well, he saw the 3rd base. He saw the 3rd base, which is the reason why we're seeing so much droning going on for Solar right now. He knows that he should be relatively safe. But does he realize that there is still the 2 medevacs filled with Marines coming up? The queens are going to have to be utilized here quite heavily. Not that much energy on top of these girls. Not that much transfusion going down either. And this could just be a massive over-droning happening from Solar, although, no, actually, we'll be able to clean this up quite nicely. Had me a little bit worried there, but did manage to take out one of the medeffects there, and that really dealt quite nicely with a lot of the healing that was going on, and the rest of the attack rather rapidly started dying off also. In particular because they did have to utilize another stim, it looks like, during that fight, which I don't have to tell you, does put those Marines quite low in the HP. Especially when there's only one medevac around, healing everything up again, right? So yeah, Solar holds on quite nicely there, quite handedly. Feeling nice and secure to start up that 4th base, already has it finished actually. We'll start sending some drones over there as well. He's got the Baneling Nest, he's got the Spire on the way, Baneling Speed, all the good stuff here for the Zerg player. Just needs to stay alive a little bit longer, which I would assume is not going to be too much of a hassle until all of that is completed. Time could attempt some more drop play, right? Still has those, well, actually another new medevac added in as well. More medevacs on the way is what he will be attempting. And he is going to hit here before that Baneling Speed is completed, I would assume. Just keeps marching forwards, and of course before any Banelings are... Oh, actually no, we have 9 Banelings, never mind about that. Thought that was still a little bit further away. Regardless, this is a great opportunity here for Time. Needs to get those Wither Mines in the ground as well. Baneling Speed still not yet completed, so that's a big deal here. There we go, that's a massive connection from the Marines onto the Banelings. Just shooting them down quite nicely. Look at that target fire. So much value here being achieved by the Red Terran. Now finally we have that Baneling Speed, and that is the ticket to clean up the rest of that assault. But that was not a favorable trade there by any stretch of the imagination for our blue Zerg player here. Very well played there by Time. Bit fortunate as well, I suppose, that Solar didn't quite have that Baneling Speed finished up. If that was the case, that would have been an entirely different fight, of course. He's looking at the main base right now, wondering if he's planning to do a bit of a drop. Maybe he's planning to poke over here, and then just kind of move some of his forces towards the main base. We don't know exactly, of course. Oh, that is a great Wither Mine. Holy moly, that is massive. Great retarget there from Time, actually. Really doing a number there onto the blue Zerg player. Medevac's dashing on out of there. A lot more units coming out of the barracks overall, but a 4th base still missing here for Time. Is attempting to make it as the 5th base as well for Solar is coming along. Ooh, great catch on a couple of Mutalisk here. That is 6 Mutalisk down in total already. That is more than I thought would be the case. Very nice indeed. Yeah, Time does definitely seem to be taking control of this series. He was behind economically, but he has been able to take such proficient trading that it just does not seem to matter. It really does not seem to matter. So here he is again, and this time around I am deadly afraid for Solar. I don't think he has anywhere near the amount of stuff that he needs to take on a force that Time is bringing to the table here. Wither Mines trying to be set off it by Solar, but he just doesn't even have enough of a force to send in a couple of units to try and set off the Wither Mines here. He just does not have enough. More Zerglings and Banelings on the production tab, but I mean, I think we can see where this is kind of going here. Unless if one massive Baneling connection changes the entire structure here. Which I don't see that happening. A lot of Mutalisk once again kind of going down there. Yeah, I think that is... I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but... also, I mean, Time's waiting just for more reinforcements, to be fair. But he is waiting, giving Solar a bit of breathing room. No more poking and trading going around at this moment in time. A couple of Mutalisk will find an opportunity to start marching across. Solar here, of course, still under the impression that he may be having dealt with the attack, not realizing now that, you know what, this is just continuing onwards, isn't it? Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. dealing with one of the Widow Mines there, but it is a rather difficult scenario. Does he have Overlord speed? Does he? He does. Alright, so maybe at a point like this, I would even consider trying to just get a bunch of Overlords together, try to fly those over the Marines as well. Just attempt to set off the Widow Mines, really. And do some friendly fire damage as well, perhaps in the process. Much like Protoss do with their Phoenix and the hallucinated Phoenix. You have an opportunity there. Not a cost-efficient trade for the Banelings there either, but... I guess he gets that Widow Mine. Okay, okay. Just looking at the army supply though, overall it's absolutely horrific. Guess this economy is really good, so... Well, still. 2 more Widow Mines. Mutalisk as well around the map. Kind of trying to find anything here, but not really achieving much so far. Too much defense overall for time for a small cluster of Mutalisk really to do anything here. Ooh, nice dodge there on the Widow Mine. Solar still holds on. Still not having lost this base, so... Oh my god! Talking about losing something. That is again a massive blow to his overall resources lost count. Those Mutalisk, they do not grow on trees. They do grow on hatcheries, but they do not grow on trees. And there's a lot more trees than hatcheries around, so... I think that analogy still works out. Single Mutalisk here being like, alright, if the Zerglings get rid of the missile turret, maybe I'll be able to do something here. No, no, not happening. Oh, Solar, you poor sod. Once more, another attempt from the drilling man himself. Gonna attempt to push through this area once more. See what he will be able to achieve here. And it's a little bit sad seeing such a huge cluster of Zerglings and Banelings rolling in and only being able to set off one Widow Mine basically. Another drop play here from time on another base. There's a counter-attack from Solar as well, but I think this is the main thing to focus on right here, right now. This army, that is the main army of the Terran. This base going down. Yeah, alright. Time decides to move backwards. He did get a lot of damage dealt. He did take a lot of damage also. I'm not sure. Does he know about this other base? Does he know about that other base? He does know about this base as well, so... That's a good deal. That's a good deal for him. He still has his own command center alive there as well, so that's a good call. I need to be careful here for those Widow Mines continuously, of course, as well. Did hear some pretty good connections, if I'm not mistaken, here and there. I think Corruptors here are being added in order to deal with Liberators, maybe also the Medivacs, but just avoid the pickups. The Mutalisk definitely weren't working anyway. Wouldn't mind seeing, well, I guess the Great Aspire right now, not really going to do much with the amount of Thors that are around, but still. Alright, here we go, guys. Another attack this time around on the left side. It does have a good spread. Has an amazing spread, actually. The surround of Solar coming in from the backside, really taking its sweet time to kind of get in that position. But the Banelings still get pretty good connections there in the end. The Ultralisk are still standing. The Corruptors should be able to get a good portion of these Medivacs right now. Suddenly, you know what, with things looking pretty bleak for Solar, he has found himself an opening with time. Taking a fight which he shouldn't have, apparently. I did not think that would go that sour for him, but it definitely did. Now losing a base and... Wow, tapping on out of there. Solar taking game one with holding off time for the longest amount of just a period of extended thing that is similar to space, but not quite. It's also time. Anyway. Feeling I was saying time too much. Regardless... That's a weird one. That was a weird one. I really thought time had him a couple of times. Just pushing that same location, continuously hammering on that weak point in the armor. Solar with like 40 army supply less than his opponent at times, and It just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. He kept making Baileys, he kept getting that production going, he kept expanding on the backside of it as well, and apparently that was enough with the initial boost of a high drone count of the start of that game. So, very cool to see. Very cool to see indeed. Alright. Moving on forwards. The next game. Bleep, bleep, bleep. StarCraft crashed. Interesting. That's a shame. Doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it is definitely unfortunate. It is definitely unfortunate. I'm fairly certain they'll do a restart here. And if not, we'll have to piggyback off of Inu, which is what I do most of the time anyway. But it's going to be a sound issue, right? Because he's going to be providing commentary in Korean. I'll go with Inu actually. Where's Inu? Inu. There we go. Now he knows why the loading is taking so long. All right. Bringing it all back. Beware of solar radiation. That's right. I'm not sure anymore if they are restarting. He said, got lol. Got lol. Not sure what that means. Not sure what that means. Let me try to figure out what's happening on his stream. Oh, that's me. That is me. That is me. Odd. Alright, Inu. There we go. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, they're still loading. Okay. Whoops. StarCraft! Blizzard! Fun time. Ah, man. It's a bummer. Anyway, what are you guys up to? Anyone got any interesting stories today? Anything interesting happened to anyone? Well, while we're waiting here. Well, we're not doing much of anything. Just kind of burping up my previously eaten little baby tomatoes. Put too much pepper on them. It's kind of nice though, right? Instead of just the regular baby tomatoes, cut them up in half, put some salt, put some pepper over them. Oh, much better. Much better overall already. Well, I say better, they're already pretty good, but they do improve. So I guess better is the right word to use there. Looks like the market's back up, isn't it? Why is it entering lobby? Ay, 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 ay. I'll restart. I'll restart. Blizzard! Blizzard! God. Not much to do about that, unfortunately. All guys going pretty soon. Getting stuff loading up again. It's just a matter of time, guys. It's just a matter of time. It's inevitable for us to get this started. We know it's gonna happen. We know it will. Just a matter of time and persistence. There we go. There we go. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Now we wait. Hopefully it don't crash more. And it doesn't, so that's good. We're gonna just hop on into game number 2 here. Probably should just put us up on a like a BRB screen or something like that, but you know what? I am a lazy man who likes lazy things, so I'm just gonna sit there and talk to you a whole bunch. Alright! Game number 2! I mean, is this actually the Trovo Weekly? I don't think it is it? Get rid of that. Get out of here. It's a Trovo series, not a Trovo Weekly. Well, it's still Trovo related. Regardless. In the bottom left side, we got ourselves a red Terran player fighting for the Kaizi Gamers. Time, the Chinese Terran. In the top right side, the blue Zerg player fighting for Kaizi Gaming as well. He is Solar. And a bit of a drone following a drone situation there. It's one of the worst things that can happen at the start of the game where you're just like, oh well, I guess I didn't have one of my units mining. I actually had more mining going on. Interesting. Well, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Guess that it was just all a mirror image. Something that wasn't quite there. Fata Morgana. An illusion. Okay. We'll have to wait and see again how this is going to develop, of course. I think a good point to make about that previous game, it really did seem like our Terran player was about to break through a couple of times. And honestly, I have seen more often in those types of situations the Zerg crumble, right? Solo doing a lot of stuff there behind kind of the regular things that we were seeing. It wasn't just him looking at that place as we were, right? Being like, alright, let me get my hatcheries, let me get the Zerglings to banelings, and let's move in again. He was doing a lot in the back scene as well. He was trying to ensure that his injects kept going. He was trying to ensure that his money kept growing as well. Just his income, keeping the expansions going, stuff like this. All very, very important in order to really hold something like that offense. To have a good, chance of winning the later part of that game. And because otherwise the Zerg just kind of over makes his defense. And sometimes, that it looks like, wow, he absolutely smashed that. But at the same time, he sacrificed so much of his economy for the fact to smash that attack that the Terran simply is going to outgrow the Zerg. Which is one of the main concerns within those situations, right? That is kind of how a Terran can win in those situations. Just because the Zerg is over-defending initially. And then sacrifice too much of his own economy. Solo walking a very, very thin line and finding his way through. So that is quite the impressive thing. So I'm on the other side doing very similar as what he did the previous round, but we'll be going for the third CC before the second barracks. And incorporating the starboards on top of the tech lab here for a couple of Banshees, and more heavily reliant upon the Hellion play also. No double medevac with Marines this time around. Which was also one of the things that made me wonder if Solar actually would start to hold here or not. Just the first wave of Marines. I thought I was going to do a bit more already on its own. Unfortunately, the medevac's getting picked off. The Queen's continuously being able to hammer onto that. Just barely having enough transfusions as well to really keep that Queen front alive for an extended period of time. Which obviously allows for the Zerglings to get a couple of extra rounds in of nibbling and biting. What's up, Size Metis? How you doing, buddy? Alright. Here we go. That is a lot of Hellions. That is a ton of Hellions right now. But the three Queens, maybe if they form a nice, clean line, they lock arms with one another, maybe they'll be able to halt the door, but that is not happening. The Queen's actually rotating all the way to the other side, where they do not want to be. The Hellions, I feel like they could have just jumped the drones there, but I'm very much respecting the potential Zergling flood here. And he's kind of still being devastated by the Zerglings there. Still some alright surrounds going off. Losing a lot of his Hellions for not much in particular. I really think that was about to be the one of the biggest drone barbecues I've seen in a long time. But not going to be the case. Not going to be the case. How am I doing? I'm doing alright. Doing okay. Doing swell. Watching some StarCraft with you and all the other lovely people here that are all helping us out with, you know, watching the StarCraft 2. It's a lot more fun to watch it together than it is on your own. It's all live as well, so we're kind of watching it while they're playing. Well, we are watching it while they're playing. Man, I hate these little lag spikes that are happening recently in the Korean servers. It is abysmal. It's been working for so long, and you know what? For a game that's no longer being patched, there's a lot of weird stuff happening. There's a lot of weird sudden changes. Where it's like, wait, what? How did this suddenly become an issue? Still a lot of Zerglings here. Yep, that's no place you can go to. The drone count's not that massive this time around, though, to be fair. But we're going a different route entirely anyway. There's no Spire. There's the Hydra Den that has already been built. And, well, because there's a Lurker Den on the way. No Hydra's out on the map just quite yet, though. Is just partaking with the Zergling Baneling composition here. That's all he is up to at this moment in time. Talking about time. What's he up to? Going for a siege tank. Siege tank army composition. Okay, I guess he realizes that there is the lurkers coming up. He must do, otherwise this would be a Widowmine composition. He must have scanned at some point, right? Seen something. Let me take a quick gander. What did he see? What did he see? I guess he just sees the lack of Mutalisk, probably. Oh, nice targets. Good pullback there as well. Solar did manage to take pretty much control of his side of the map, though. Time not that far behind. It's pretty close to having his entire side of the map gobbled up as also. Just 2 bases off and Solar only 1 base off. This is where things start to get really tight. And also, of course, Solar. He's still playing with a less cost-efficient army composition, but if he has those lurkers ready, that is going to switch that dynamic upside its head a little bit here. Unless if Time, of course, gets a beautiful engagement, then, I mean, he could still be more cost-efficient, sure, but it gets quite difficult here for the Terran. Just a slower army. It takes a lot longer to siege up, siege down. It's a weird thing that you can say siege up, but you can't say siege down. It's unsiege then, all of a sudden. Wouldn't it be unsieging up as well at the same time? I don't know. These are the questions we need answers to. Right, Solar, he has to be very, very careful here. I would like to see him try and set up more flanks other than just from this side and this side. Could be pretty great to have something coming in from the back alley as well. Alright, moving forwards. There is a lot of Zerglings, but there's more Marines coming in from behind as well. Where are the lurkers? That is on my mind right now. I guess he doesn't have to upgrade, so he's not looking to invest just quite yet as this Terran push is coming in. This Terran push coming in at an absolute killer timing, actually. If he had waited 1 more minute, then this attack would have been met with a lot of lurkers and been a lot easier for Solar to hold. Now, he does not have any of that type of stuff here. He needs to make this work with just the Zerglings and the Banelings. Here we go again, moving forwards. A yoink on the siege tank. Interesting. Thought we were going to see the blinding clouds. There's one blinding cloud, I suppose. But nothing left anymore to really push on top of this Terran force. And once more, we're in a very precarious situation for Solar, where it feels like he's just buying himself time. And it's just a couple of moments left from him having to tap out because the final couple of his units have been killed. That is not the case here. He will keep on trying. He's going to sacrifice 2 bases potentially. Trying his best to keep it alive for as long as possible. Make it difficult for Time to just free push into this. Units exploding left, right, and center. Oh, there we go. Another yoink. That one's pretty nice. More stuff running in. And this could be a good moment. Nope. Never mind. Has to get out of there again. A lot of creep spread has been slain here, which is also a big deal. This could be a great opportunity for Time to just keep pushing this area as soon as his next army is ready to go, of course. The army size is overall a little bit less in favor for Time, though. Let's see his units lost count. That's okay. That is okay. Solar a little bit strapped there, but should still be able to make something happen here. Marines, ooh, nearly. Have to be responded to. Pretty much the entire army of Solar here being pulled. Uh-oh. Another attempt. Great snipes there from the Ghost. At the same time, is there a big counter-attack going on? Yes, there is. Zerglings managed to get the planetary fortress on the bottom right side. Marines and Marauders coming in to save the day here, but the refineries will also bite the bullet. And now, while that is going on, suddenly Solar on the left side ferociously pushing in this location. Getting rid of those Liberators quite handily. Marines are not here right now, so the siege tanks were a little bit exposed, but with the Ghost there also, it seems like that was enough to push Solar back once again. Solar not messing about here. 11 more lurkers coming in that production tab. He is feeling rather frisky. I think he's going to try to make one big more push here, go straight ahead and push into the ground forces, as he does not have that many Hydralisk anymore. I suppose he did deal with a lot of the Liberators. How many do we still have? We got one, so yeah, that seems okay overall. Nice hit on that tank right there. Well, properly executed abduction. Oh, but here comes the main force, and yeah, that just does not seem to be much here for time, at least until the rest of his army comes in, of course. But Solar just kind of bullying his way into this location on the left side, getting all the SCVs, getting the command center to lift up forcefully. Getting the heck out of there. Marines deciding, you know what, we can do that as well. We can take out a base if we want to. Just got to start marching across here. Trying to get as many of the drones also, but the Zerglings making that very, very difficult to do. Okay, so with all of that being said and done, the dust is settling. We can see that Solar is in a very good economic position, right? Still has most of his bases, most of all everything that he kind of requires at this moment. He's got a hefty drone advantage, and he is similar on army supply. So if he keeps time from just making more army right now, if he keeps managing to trade somewhat efficiently, it should be a really good good moment for him. Good opportunity. Baneling's here, getting the connections though. Lurk is moving on forwards. And that does seem to be another hold for this moment. So I'm trying his best to get rid of all the Overseers here as well. If all the Overseers are gone, the Ghost could just cloak ahead and try to get rid of the lurkers, but apparently we did not get ourselves some cloaking devices just quite yet for those Ghosts. So bit of a maybe a potential mistake here. He didn't make it as soon as he took out all the Overseers, but he's been sniping Overseers for a while, so makes me wonder if that was intentional or not. Alright, the idea here is that Solar wants to keep trading to avoid time from getting like a 140 to 150 army supply. That's kind of the battle right here. Can Time maintain his army overall well enough in comparison to that of Solar that he's going to be able to start trading into his advantage? That's a lot of lurkers. Holy moly. Another base will fall. All those SCVs will go down. That does mean, on the one hand, more potential supply for army for Time, but at the same time, gonna have more difficulties trying to actually get that army made. Some sneaky droning going on here on the left side. That hatchery actually being moved in upon to Solar. It almost seemed like he wanted to try and contain that one, keep that base afloat. At the same time, moving his Hydras and Lurkers into the main army of our Terran player there. So, bit of a surprise, I have to admit. That was a bit of a surprise. Would not have expected him to make that move without actually having the Zergling support there as well. Those types of fumbles from Solar are the one ticket into this game. Or back into this game for our red Terran here. Getting some creep, always a good thing. Oh, these two Zerglings. Wow, that is annoying. He's going to have to send his entire... Look at that. Look at this army movement in order to deal with two Zerglings. Oh, that is gorgeous. Alright. Again, leaving a couple of his siege tanks exposed now, and this seems to be the story of the game, mostly. Where we have time just not being able to keep up with the army movement. GG is called. Second game going into Solar's favor as well. Can anything stop this man still? That is now twice. That is twice in a row where we see kind of Solar getting himself into trouble, or seemingly into a bit of trouble. Where within that situation, I've gotten used to just seeing the Terran players continue sending in reinforcements and just eventually break that Zerg opponent. But it seems like Solar really got the hang of just kind of maintaining that position. And yeah, kind of keeping himself into that area. So, well played. Solar has to go to the toilet. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll allow it for now. We'll let him do it. We'll let him get away with it. Alright. Trying to see if I can do anything as well at the same time to kind of get rid of the any type of potential lag causing things. It's not that much, really. It's not that much. We can try this, the creative cloud. Sure. There we go. There we go. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's going to help us out, right? That's the question. Ooh, I stayed up till late yesterday. Oh, just looking over the news, seeing what was happening overall. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. We don't quite know what's going to happen. I went to a chicken party yesterday. The chicken party, man. I always forget about the chicken party. That chicken party, it really did mess up quite a few things, didn't it? Made life very difficult that day for a lot of players. A lot of players just struggling. Whenever anyone's having a rough day, it's like, chicken party, eh? Chicken party. Nice. Especially Bjorn. Yeah. There's something especially funny about Bjorn going to his chicken party, isn't there? Like, just this mythical god of StarCraft 2. That just... Yeah. I don't know. I just like to go to chicken parties. I guess he doesn't sound like a German, but... I just like to go to chicken parties. This is what I do. In the bottom right side, we got ourselves a red Terran player. He is fighting for the Kaiser Gamers, similar to this guy, by the way. But anyway, he is a Terran. He's from China. He is Time. Top left side, the blue Zerg. We already said his team, didn't we? Yes, we did. It's, well, we're not going to do it again. Are we? Are we? Oh, I'm feeling it now. It's Solar. Let's just call him Solar. There we go. From Kaiser Gaming. Alright, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. Don did it anyway. Trying to buy time by pretending like I'm wasting time. Or cutting time. Saving time? Saving time. That's the one. Boom, boom, boom. Bum 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 bum. What other tricks from the books can Time pull here? What kind of shenanigans as a Terran can he throw at his opponents? I have to wonder myself a little bit here. We don't quite know, do we? Could be a whole bunch of stuff. Could be a whole bunch of stuff. Secretly hoping for a battlecruiser or a planetary fortress rush. Haven't seen one of those for a while. Usually because they don't quite work. Unless if you do pull it off somehow. And it does get a little bit mental. Alright. The dance has begun. The battle of micro. And the battle of wit. Looks like the Reaper, being a bit careful with his HP, does want to delay that that creep tumor if it will not be able to get it killed off, of course. Solar being very careful with it. It's just going to place it down on the backside. I mean, it's a place where you're going to have to spread creep eventually, but having to do it as the first creep tumor, kind of a bother here, I'm not going to lie. Another queen has to be pulled, and it's going to take the place of the Herd Queen here. Nice little thing, actually. Nice bit of micro. Especially considering that he already combined the two bases with creep. So, allowing him to do a bit... Well, be a bit more... how do you say this? Mobile with his queens, I suppose. Time still figuring out if you can get more creep tumor kills with these Reapers. Although I say more creep tumor, you didn't get a single one of them just quite yet, but you're delaying them by an enormous amount of time. There is one finally coming down. Actually, make that two right now. It's another one plopping out of the queen. So yeah, overall, I'd say those Reapers already a bit of a victory for Time. Needs to now involve a couple of Hellions, perhaps, as well, or are we going to see just a big Marine squish? I think that is going to be the thing right here that we'll see. The squeeze on the Marines. Shortly. Bleh. Another fairly quick third base. This time around we're seeing a bit of a hybrid of the Medivacs and the Marines, but also the Hellions with an armory behind this, so this is quite the committed attack. Regardless of there being a third base as well, we can see that this is, in fact, quite a dedicated push coming out from Time. Now, there's a lot of queens available for Solar. They are going to be instrumental in order to hold this. He's already put a lot of them off of the creep, though, so they're going to take quite a bit of poke damage here. And now they're struggling to get back up on the ramp. They're going to lose a lot of their support. That's too much damage already, I'd say, for Solar to lose those queens just like that. In a whim, trying to get rid of the Marines. Actually, the Marines are a bit too far removed from those Hellbats, so the Zerglings were able to get quite a few of those Marines knocked down a peg. Now it's mostly just the Hellbats, and there are still queens available. There are, well, actually, there is a single spine crawler here as well, helping out quite a ton. Time really, I mean, in situations like these, you're more heavily relying upon the Marines, I suppose, for the damage. The Hellbats are there just in order to keep away the Zerglings, but you need to do damage. You need to either be able to get rid of all the Zerglings, all the queens, and then, you know, a big portion of that. Actually, he's going to get a base here. That would be really good. Oh, the Widowmine! That's a dead base right now, thanks to that Widowmine. Holy moly. Alright. So I was afraid Time wasn't going to find the damage that he needed to anymore, but it seems like I was entirely wrong. That is a very nice pickup right there. The 4th base going down, putting both players on 3 bases. And yeah, that's gotta be quite the breath of fresh air here for Time. Finally being able to do some real damage with a bush instead of just kind of getting really good trades, which he also did, don't get me wrong, but not getting anything else done, which just didn't seem to be enough in this situation when these two clash up against one another. Solo just a bit too good on the back end, too good at getting all his production continuously going. That's the Widowmine drop. Looks like Solo completely aware. Alright, still losing to 2 drones. But we'll not lose any more, I'd hope. There's another attack coming in on the bottom side as well at the same time. So a lot of Marines. Ah, there, enough paint. Oh, those are massive connections, actually. That was a very fortunate one. That could have been a lot worse. Now we need the Overseer here. That Widowmine on the... That's 2 of them. That's 2, okay. Whew. Whoa, up. Ah, that's a shame. That's a shame. Kind of misjudging the timing there, I suppose. More units pushing on forwards onto the creep here on the right side. That base is seemingly a little bit better protected than it was the previous time, but actually, in fact, was that a blatant lie of mine? I think it may have been. I thought there would be more reinforcements coming along here, but that really is not for Solar. Again, maybe 2 Banelings that managed to get a bit closer to the Marines than they should have realistically gotten to. There we go, that's the target fire that we know. Maybe too many Banelings to target fire though, to be fair. Going off of the creep, spreading out. This is just lovely. Oh, this is so good here. Alright. Now the big difference here, as opposed to those previous games, where it also felt like Solar in a lot of trouble, Time, endless amounts of aggression, just putting on an immense amount of pressure on Solar and trading out favorably, is that, well, the big deal here is Solar lost the base, and he's not really up onto a comfortable drone count here either. He didn't lose a lot of drones, but I mean, he never was allowed to really drone up as he did previously, because he did start off on the wrong foot here. Which is looking like it's actually hurting him quite a bit. Trying his best to get a bit of a counter-attack assault going here, but only 2 SCVs go down. Some Banelings still manage to make a difference here on the Marine front, on the side of Solar's... yeah, on the Solar side of the map. To be fair, look at this, still making more bases Solar is here, and then just on the opposite direction, on the opposite end of wherever the Marines are poking from the most right now. Very good to see. Banelings a little bit late to the party. The SCV's already evacuated, but can still help out against those Marines. Did Solar do it again here? With the least amount of advantage that he could have gotten overall economically. I really thought this time around it would be a game for Time to win. But it seems like Solar is just absolutely on fire and will not drop a single map here. Even though in all 3 the situation just seems worse than the last one. He manages to hang on through and just kind of macro his way out of there again. On the back foot. in the back alley trading, I suppose. Quite impressive. Quite impressive indeed. Time not giving up just quite yet, as this is, of course, his last leg to stand on if he lets this one be swept underneath from him. Swept. Swippity swept underneath from him, then that's going to be it for him here today. Well, that would be a bummer. That would be a bummer. Probably had the rest of the evening kind of figured out. Made free in the agenda for this event right here, and then to go down 3-0, that would be a rough one. It's very impressive. Just the overall amount of control we're seeing here from Solar against these Widowmine drops, also incredibly, just so good. Thoroughly impressive. Look at this, even there, just kind of just being like, alright, yep, I gotta move these, that's fine. Just make sure not to just lose now due to Widow Mines, of course. Oh my god, he's gonna lose now because of Widow Mines, isn't he? Oh god. I swear that would be the derpiest way to lose now. I think he may, he did, alright. Alright, well, still times game it seems. Still times game. Wow, that was going back and forth continuously. Surprised is a little bit like a shortcoming term. That was just a weird one overall. That was such an awkward moment. I just looked at my phone knowing Solar would just win, lol. Yeah, I really thought he would win as well, but Time's still hanging on there and keeping the ball rolling. Getting himself another opportunity. Getting himself another shot at this game. At this series, so... Imagine now the comeback happening, right? Just the full 180 return for Time, dude. That would be nasty. That would be nasty. What's happening here? Sorry guys, just kind of checking the other things. Looks okay. Looks okay. Yeah, alright. Time. Jesus, man. Okay. I'm sorry. I guess it was just the overwhelming amount of counter-aggression that was happening. Solar, he was already low on economy, so maybe that was the reason why he just barely couldn't push that one through. Honestly, I also think that just the Widow Mines there, right? He would have been able to clean up that attack on the top side. That may have freed up enough units afterwards to kind of hold the rest of the area as well. But those Widow Mines, holy ungodly amounts of Zerg units going down there. And yeah, just like that, Time suddenly finding enough momentum to swing it back his way. And enough to make Solar tap out, so that is quite the swing. To be fair, Solar did mess up in that first bit as well. He took so much damage from that Hellbat Marine attack, which really should not have happened. in the bottom left side, getting 1 point on the board here. The red Terran player, he is Time from China. What an absolute stunning display right there. In the top right side, this opponent, also from Kaise, he's the blue Zerg. He is Solar. Game number 4. Was not anticipating a game number 4 here anymore, but here we are. Here we are. Whew. Alright. Solar. One game where he did not manage to get his drone count up as much as he did the previous two. Definitely became a struggle for him. There's the hatchery. Third base hatchery after the 2 queens, as is usual for Solar. Likes to do that type of thing. Play it cautiously, get the queens early on. To be fair, it makes sense, as he is one of the players that is more commonly known to lose those initial Zerglings. Although it has appeared that that has been a lot less the case recently, right? He did up his Zergling early game quite a bit. Alright, nice. Good job getting that creep tumor down. Third base for Time already on the way as well. Not gonna stray too far behind on the base count here. Try to match the Zerg's greed with your own greed. One of the ways in StarCraft 2, of course, to try and keep a game on equal footing. So another tech lab as well on the way here for Time. It could be that he's once again looking to do the Banshee Hellion opening. It's a bit of a shame because I did enjoy the Marines with the Hellbats. I think that is just always so much better than the regular Hellbat push overall. Now Hellbat push is pretty good as well, but it just doesn't have enough volatility to really shoot down the queens initially, right? It just doesn't have the grit, doesn't have the staying power there. Well, I guess it has the staying power. It just doesn't have the actual DPS versus the queens to get rid of those girls right there. The bad voodoo priestesses. Third base from Time does get scouted. Solar gets a pretty good look at what's going on. Sees the tech lab on the starboard. Also, another big tell there. We'll be able to identify what is coming his way rather nicely. And throws down a Roach Warren together with the lair upgrades here. Onto the production tab. Could be interesting to see what he wants to do with this. I'm anticipating we're going to go into a quick Roach, into Hydra, into Lurkers here. From our blue Zerg. It is a very common style. On the other hand, let me see it. Do we have the 2 Evo chambers? No, we do not. Okay. So most likely will not be some sort of a 2-2 timing here from the Zerg either. Should have probably already started the +1/+1 here a while ago if he was planning to do something of the sorts. Enough queens everywhere, it seems, to really push back the red Hellions for the time being. More barracks in production. There's the Roach Speed and the 2 Evo chambers. Waiting to see if we get the Hydra Den also. I assume we're gonna go for the upgrades here initially, and then afterwards we'll be able to get ourselves some Hydras involved as well. I suppose the first initial thing of this build always is going to be the getting your roaches out. I like that he's not really showing any roaches as well. He's still keeping a bit of a mystery. If he had shown his roaches already, that this is, you know, that is his hand, that is what he's going for. We may see Time already incorporating a few more Marauders rather than Marines in his composition. But, you know what, he has the Banshee, he's got a couple of siege tanks as well. I would assume that if Solar does try to do any type of a push here, I mean, he is making a lot of Overlords right now. With a lot of roaches, not that many drones been on the production tab for a long while anymore. Ooh, is he gonna try this? He may actually try this. I think, yeah, I assume so. Looking at the gas can as well, guys, this is looking more and more likely. Just more roaches, yeah, just more and more roaches. Okay. There we go. That's that big swell of gas being spent right now. Oh, is he going to go back into drones or not? This is a crucial moment. Oh, Time. He's on the other side of the map here. Could be a bad moment to try and make something like that happen. He's going to get absolutely stomped. The Zerg's units quite quickly on top of the Terran and takes out 2 of the siege tanks here. That's a beautiful start if you do want to get yourself a roach attack going, to be able to pick off the siege tanks on your side of the map. That is a marvelous start on that initial attack, this aggression. Time clearly getting blindsided here, not anticipating the roach numbers, not anticipating them to be ready for some sort of an offensive. Here we go. The roaches and the refugees moving on forwards, trying to get themselves into a good position. Let's see where the biles land. So far, just the supply depots. Not right on top of those Widow Mines, which would be a good place as well. Still very rough to get himself on top of the ramp here. Has to be careful of the Widow Mines as well. There we go. Finally does get rid of them. Is he going to just steamroll on top of this? He's making a very weird fight. An awkward exchange with the concave of the Terran there. With him just having that little tiny corridor really to work with. Trying to get some handsome biles also to go into his favor here. Managed to put Time back onto a 2-base economy. Well, he does have a 4th base available, but mostly still roaches and zerglings on the production tab. Up until this moment in time, of course. Suddenly, quite a few drones are being constructed. Solar realizing he's not going to be able to push up onto the 2nd base floor, but is going to just stick around here for a little bit longer. Just to deny Time any access, any presence outside of his own base. And it will be a while before Time actually feels confident in what he has to start pushing out here. Did lose quite a bit actually. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. Yeah, that's looking juicy. That's looking very fine for Solar. Let's hope he still has enough units at home as well to defend against these drops that are coming in right now. The 3rd base, of course. Quite a bit of a turmoil there. It's the 3rd base for Time, trying its best to find a safe place to land. Not a lot around, unfortunately. There's the Hive and the Lurker down on the way. Solar really getting ready for the next one. Oh, this is nasty. That's a lot of drones going down. That's a lot of drones going. That's an abnormal amount of drones going down. Jesus Christ, will it never end? 17 of the little fellas kind of getting shot apart right there. To be fair, it's still okay for Solar as he is on a 4 base economy versus just a 2 base. There we go. There's the attempt to break the contain. I think it will be enough Terran here. Solar making a stance, trying a little bit to hold it off, but not quite having enough here with just the roaches. But that's alright. He wasn't too worried anyway to lose a couple of those. He's looking towards the Viper Lurker army right now anyway. Okay, and with that, of course, in mind, Time needs to figure out a way in order to either punish the timing before the Lurkers are out, or to just kind of stay afloat, keep himself in the game without letting Solar take the entirety of the rest of the map, including the top left and the bottom right side bases. Stuff like this is really good. This definitely preoccupies Solar, makes it more difficult for him to get this expansions build. But will it be enough overall? And this army for time is still scary, guys. There is still a large portion of Terran supply here. And it is going to fly straight over a bunch of Zergling stars. It is trying to go into the medevacs. That is very unfortunate. Solar should be completely aware about this. And should have no difficulties dealing with it. Unless if he doesn't get his Hydras here in time. Oh, no, that is rough. Okay, needs to get to the main base. He just completely let this slide. Oh my god. Alright, so a massive attack in the main base. Another big attack here onto the 5th base. Solar is falling apart here once again. When it seems like he has every bit, every bit of the puzzle, every bit of the pie in his favor. It seems like he is just losing control once again. Losing his hive tech, for goodness sake. Losing a lot of tech structures here in the main base as well. It's going to be absolutely horrendous if he loses the Hydra Den at all, the Lurker, or the Infestation Pit there. I guess the Infestation Pit, the least of his troubles. But, alright, there we go. Finally should have enough here. The Blinding Clouds kind of carrying the way to victory overall. There we go. Does manage to save his neck, but man, that was one hell of a maneuver there from time. I never anticipated that to work anymore, seeing how the Medevacs, they got spotted. That should not have worked anymore. Solar should have had units in both of those locations, at least enough to kind of take out one by one dropping Marines, especially in the main base, right? But getting a bit ahead of himself, perhaps. Not anticipating that to do that much damage, I would imagine. And then the ground attack as well, immediately to follow it up with a very, very well executed bit of momentum building up there for time. Ravagers getting rid of some of those Widow Mines here. Now the Vipers helping out against the siege tanks, of course. Widow Mines getting a bit more value than they should against an army like this. Oh, that is nasty. Oh, those Liberators, look at them go. Oh, okay. Hydralisk just barely able to deal with them. Nothing left here for Solar to really protect those Lurkers now. Needs to rethink his options. Alright. Solar rotating around. He's circling his spray, looking for the place to land. Does find a pretty good spot here. That 3rd base is looking very well exposed. Wiggles himself in between all the 3 base locations. Will he be able to really solidify his hold here? He is taking some damage back at home as well, but that does seem to be manageable with a bit of reinforcements. Just, you know, doesn't want to lose everything. which should not happen theoretically. Alright, yeah, Queen's doing an alright job there. The left assault does get held, but the one over here, that's again a ton of drones just going down for no apparent reason. I guess Solar does manage to take out the planetary there, but this is a very weird game. Army supply-wise, still quite heavily in favor for Solar here. I'm assuming that should be enough for him to take this. As, once again, Time, he is going to have one hell of a pickle trying to force his way out of his main base. And Solar here, I mean, he can... I guess he could just try to push up here. He most likely will succeed, but he doesn't even have to, right? And that's the beauty of the position here for Solar. He could just keep this contain happening, just ensure that no drops and such are doing a ton of damage, surprisingly, across the map. But yeah, this should go into Solar's favor now. Solar. Oh, targeting the medevac right there. Nicely done. Is he targeting individual Marines as well? I think he was there for a moment. Could be mistaken. Sends the rest of his forces back. There we go. GG is called. Time taps out, giving Solar the 3-1 victory.